Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Queen, and if this is your first time here, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And today I'm going to talk about reflux. I want to tell you my experiences and how I was able to overcome gastric reflux. It can really be painful and discomforting. So if you have ever experienced this heartburn or discomfort as a result of gastric reflux, this is for you. Please stay tuned and watch the end of this video to be able to know what you should do in order to avoid having a repetition of all these conditions. Personally, I have experienced it over years and I've gotten so used to it, but then it's not normal. I have to get rid of it. So I really started looking into it, watched things I eat, and at the end of the day, I was able to get a solution. First of all, I would like to tell you how this happens and where it happens. This gastric reflux happens in the gastrointestinal tract, that is the GIT, and it comprises of the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the rectum. We know the process of food. We know how food moves, how the food we get into our mouth moves. It moves from the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and rectum. And there is always an activity happening at every stop of process of food digestion. So what happens is food moves from the mouth to the esophagus and then to the stomach. But in this process, in this condition of gastric reflux, there's kind of a regurgitation, a backward flow of content from the stomach back to the esophagus, which causes a heartburn and all those signs and symptoms we experience. This gastric reflux happens between the stomach and the esophagus. The reason why it is painful, or the reason it gives us all those signs, is because the pH of the stomach is acidic because of the presence of hydrochloric acid. And this hydrochloric acid plays a very important role in the digestion, absorption of all the food. It helps in the breaking down of food together with other enzymes in the stomach. Now, when this happens, the food continues from the intestine after the absorption back down to the rectum, to the colon, rectum, and so on. The esophagus is a hollow organ. It's like a pipe. So when food passes through it, normally, pipes don't have a stop unless there is something preventing it from letting its content out or in. This esophagus has a sphincter known as lower esophageal sphincter. It's actually at the lower end of the esophagus. So it prevents food from flowing back. So in other words, this sphincter only allows one-way movement so that food from the stomach doesn't go back to the throat again. Now, this is what happens. When food passes through the sphincter is like a lock. It allows only one flow of movement. So when food passes it, it locks, preventing whatever that is below it from coming up. But in the case of gastric reflux, the reverse is the case. There is an escape as a result of complete or incomplete opening of this sphincter, letting food back into the throat. You can imagine what happens when acid from the stomach moves up into the throat. It's really going to be harsh on it, and that is why we experience all those signs and symptoms. They include nausea, hiccup, regurgitation. Regurgitation is bringing out what you have already eaten. It happens most of the time to people experiencing this condition. Dry cough, bloating, sore throat, hoarseness of voice, sometimes tonsillitis, and heartburn. That's the other. Heartburn is really the most disturbing symptom of it all. What are the causes of this gastric reflux we're talking about? Now we have hernia. This is a condition in which the lower esophageal sphincter and the upper part of the stomach pushes towards the diaphragm. It kind of puts pressure on the sphincter and lets it open. Let's go to the most common causes of this, which include eating large quantity of food at the same time. So you want to fill your stomach to the brim. You want to eat until you no longer feel hungry. Like, you want to so fill your stomach. The next one is tying something immediately after eating, like said tummy trimmer. Okay, putting something tight in your stomach. When you put on something very tight, either your clothes, belt, or even the tummy trimmer most people wear. Taking certain beverages like coffee. Pregnancy, smoking, and stress, particularly I experience it when I'm stressed. In fact, once I start feeling heartburn, hoarseness in my voice, and all this, I already know I'm stressed. So I just give myself a break and rest. These can be causes. How do we manage it? We've already known the causes, so it's just very simple. Once you identify the causes, once you identify what the cause might be, then you'll be able to avoid it, and then you're good. For instance, I experience it when I'm stressed, so I try my best to rest. In fact, before I realized that it was even a gastric reflux, it was really getting serious. I almost had gastroesophageal reflux disease. I mean, I had to see my doctor, and it's so funny, I don't want to talk about it. Now we've known the causes, so we're going to talk about and how to control it, how to stop it, or control to the barest minimum. Now, what do? If it is a result of beverages, it is just good you get rid of these beverages which has a tendency of causing gastric reflux. For instance, coffee, smoking, example, cigarette contains nicotine, which relaxes the muscle, so it kind of relaxes the sphincter. Eat little quantity of food at the same time. That will really go a long way to help you. You should also avoid fatty food, avoid frying food. Personally, when I eat fried foods, I tend to experience heartburn. Avoid fatty foods, and I'll try to avoid every food that may precipitate these symptoms, including fruits that has the ability to increase the acidic content of the stomach, making it even worse. I notice that I have issues when I eat pineapples. Not every time anyway, but when I notice the symptoms and I eat pineapple, it tends to make it worse. So what I do is simply avoid pineapple each time I experience gastric, each time I experience any of this signs. It kind of makes it worse, and I'll avoid beans and fried food. So you just get rid of all this food, identify what food causes it, and then get rid of it. Again, avoid tying clothes or wearing something tight after eating. After eating, you should give yourself chance before even lying down. You should take a break. Don't go to bed immediately after eating. If you want to take your dinner, make sure you're taking it early enough. It happens in pregnancy, especially late pregnancy, and it seems to be as a result of the increase of uterus. When it is increasing, it kind of puts pressure on the stomach, and you have the tendency of having a regurgitation or even experiencing a gastric reflux. So in this case, you just learn to lie down in an inclination. That is, when you want to lie down, make sure your bed is a bit elevated, at least to 15 degrees. Okay. When you want to lie down, and this is your bed, you have to elevate the upper part, not your neck. Elevating your neck is far different from elevating your upper part of your body. So you're going to raise your bed, either using a wedge or clothes. Just put something behind it, so that when you lie down, your upper part is elevated. At least it works against gravity. So when it's elevated, there's a possibility of stopping it. But generally, when you experience it, try to elevate your upper body. Whether pregnant or not, try to elevate your upper body to avoid throwing back, to avoid reflux, to avoid regurgitation or any of these symptoms. There are really bad signs. There are really red flags that you experience, and then it's time to see your doctor. Besides, you should always endeavor to see your GP, get advice, and don't self-medicate. Just get advice from your GP. So when you experience these symptoms, when you experience it 2 to 3 times in a week or more frequently in a month, please make sure to see your doctor. Vomiting or seeing blood in vomits, or even having a black tarry stool, just endeavor to see your doctor. And then difficulties swallowing, or you feel there is something in your throat, please, it's really something you need to discuss to your doctor about, and then get properly checked. Besides, when you have a frequent symptom, it is known as gastroesophageal reflux disease. It is now a disease, and you need your doctor's attention to be able to sort it out. So I believe this piece will really help us to know how to deal with it, identify it, and then be free of this reflux. Thank you for watching to this end. Please remember to subscribe, share, and like this video. Thank you very much, and